Centre, but this one is unusual in that it aims to cater for gay couples. And we're joined in the studio by Ashling Phillips, co-founder of the Gay Fertility Centre. Good afternoon to you, Ashling.
Good afternoon.
I suppose you started this up, in part at least, because of your own experience with you and your partner when you were having kids.
Yeah, definitely. Sort of 7 years ago when we decided we wanted to start a family and have children, we did the usual thing. We searched the internet, tried to get as much information as possible, and we kind of found that it was quite lacking. And even now, in this sort of day and age, there is still sort of very mixed amounts of information, mixed levels of support for same-sex couples when they want to start a family. So we thought we could start our family and cater specifically for the needs of same-sex couples, but not exclusively. We will help, obviously, straight couples, anybody that needs our help.
But when the two of you went to fertility clinics to say, you know, we want to have a child, in what ways did you feel that they weren't really being sensitive?
We initially approached our GP, and he directed us to a fertility clinic. And obviously at that time we were both fairly young, we were fit, we were healthy, and we didn't feel we had fertility issues that would warrant us paying the sort of money that you would pay at a fertility clinic. We just needed the other half of the genetics to help us make our children.
You needed a donor, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we couldn't get that service on the NHS, so we did the usual thing. We did sign up with a fertility clinic down in London, and we found a donor through them, but we decided to go the home insemination route rather than the fertility treatment that involved the hormones and the drugs and the whole treatment that we feel we didn't need.
And what is all that treatment that you didn't need? Because obviously there wasn't a fertility problem as far as either of you knew. It was just basically the donor you needed.
Yeah, exactly. And at that time, all that seemed to be available to us if we went to the fertility clinic was IVF, which is basically where you're given hormones and drugs to stimulate you to produce more than the usual amount of fertile eggs each month, and then extract the eggs and fertilise them and then re-implant the embryo.
And were there any other people you know, any other gay couples, and what were they doing?
At that time, we didn't know anybody else who was sort of in our area that was starting a family. The only sort of other person we knew was somebody who was a lot older, whose partner had a child sort of 20 odd years ago, and they used a friend at the time and did home insemination, but back then it was even more unheard of. So we had relatively little support and little information to go on.
And home insemination is the details of it too much at this hour of the day, but I mean it's basically a private deal that you do with the donor. Is that sort of, not, I don't want to put too crassly, but is that basically how it works?
Yeah, basically we found a donor that was willing to help us for purely altruistic reasons, because he had friends that were a same-sex couple and he saw what they went through trying to start their family. So we obviously had ideas about what sort of donor we wanted to contribute the other half of genes to our children, so we were quite specific. We found him and we met up with him, we discussed what we wanted and what, if any, involvement he wanted, and we came to an arrangement where he would donate us what we needed and we'd inseminate it at home, so to speak.
And then when you were when you had the pregnancy and you were going through the NHS, then were people particularly aware that, because I did read that, you know, and it's a habit, midwives have it, they always refer to mum, but of course in your case you're both mum.
Yeah, and we had very sort of mixed experiences through the NHS, really. Some midwives were brilliant, other midwives tended to focus solely on